Great. So, Brooks, we missed your intro, I'm afraid. Could you repeat that for us?
Okay. Brooks Braun is my name, aka Thomas. The past 19 years, I've been focusing exclusively on quantic medicine, a different teaching. That's a little alteration from my past. I came at this through the Chinese medicine and Ayurveda, massage, acupuncture, reflexology, herbology, spectrum, and then discovered Medicina Quantica in Mexico. And I stayed here trying to immerse myself in that in the last 15 years, specifically focus on this because it seems to answer all of my questions in one place. So right now I'm going to focus on explaining something called basically the body of energy. How does energy work in this body, that we have this multidimensional body, and how understanding that language of energy, we can integrate it into a practical practice called our lifestyle. So I'm very open to any questions. I would see more value for you as students to ask me anything that's on your mind about energy. And we move this way rather than me giving you a script of what I believe it is and then confusing you. So if you have any questions around energy, we have an open dialogue and then I structure it to show you how you can integrate this, that you achieve all of your amazing goals and basically consciously create a lifestyle that's perfect for you. So how's that sound? Sounds
Great.
like you don't have audio.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Okay.
We can maybe go just take a moment to have all the students unmute themselves. It's a small group today, and just say their name and let you know up front if there are any questions or themes.
Okay.
Great. Who wants to go first?
I can go. Hi, hello. It's really lovely to meet you. My name is Raquel and I'm based in the UK.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Thank you. Lovely to meet you.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Hi,
I
Raquel.
have a question, something that's really quite alive for me at the moment that like gets me rubbing my head because I know that there is a lot to it that I can't fully comprehend just yet, is the energy of money, the energy of wealth, so
Okay.
aligning to that. So anything that, you've got the wisdom to share around that, and how to overcome the constrictions of the conditioning that perhaps runs in the ancestral lines and family lines. Yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Good question. And on many people's consciousness for sure. Money is a representation of energy, isn't it? We even call it currency. So it's a form of it's a mathematical representation of units of energy, either human or intellectual labor. Now, money is in a form of expression, so it's governed by this generator. We can call it a chakra, spinning vortex in Sanskrit. We call it a generator because it's what generates certain pulses of molecular activation to turn on certain circuits for the process of biology. It's also a generator that creates emotional expression. So that we can have an emotion, we have to generate emotion. And this one here in the throat chakra it's an expression. So money is an expression. If there's scarcity in money, and you speak of ancestral, let's say, limitations or beliefs or struggles and hardships, it's coming primarily, especially in your continent, because of the church has created this concept of pleasure and reward and fear and scarcity. And it's easy to control somebody through the scarcity. You take things away and then you give them a crumb and they feel elated. It's an excellent form of control, and it's worked for thousands of years. And scarcity only works because it's based off fear. The fear of not having enough. If you create fear in somebody and you have this solution, you've created a very good control mechanism for them. So cultures have been based, the structure of the societies are based off this mechanism. So to overcome this, we in quantum medicine, what we do is we adhere to a concept of alignment. We hear the word, but what does it mean? It means aligning these 7 spheres or these 7 different generators and charges, align them so that all, for sake of better language, all best in the amount of out we can put together. When we have a synchron energy generators, we have clear mind.
There's some really amazing stuff there.
Was that video, we were experiencing that, yeah, the sound was cutting off. Okay, that was for us too.
They're stuttery.
Do you think like having the video off could be a way
Yeah,
of it?
yeah. I'm just messaging him that and just do audio. That's what I tried to do and then it just crashed. Just getting into it as well.
Been having internet issues. He's had that past couple of
Yeah, he has been having
something's-
serious internet
yeah,
issues.
building.
Okay, Brooks, let's try again. Maybe without the video, without your video, that might. Would you like to try maybe without your video and see if that helps your signal improve?
Okay, I'll try that. Let's try that for a second until we meet in the next. Okay, I'll take over. How's that? Do you have clear audio?
Yeah,
Welcome
that's
to a
much
new
better.
form of energy called Wi-Fi in instability. Okay, okay. Yeah, it's probably down here. It is definitely an issue that we experience, is this inability to sustain the bandwidth, which is this is a good metaphor, a divine one. So we'll stay with that metaphor. In order to generate currency, we have to become a clear channel. If we have anything that where we create electrical interference, it will start with our mind, won't it, around money. Basically, not having money, it's a mindset first, isn't it? And then it's an emotion that we feel, either we don't deserve something, we're not good enough, we don't know enough, and that puts us into a state of need and fear, the fear of lack. As soon as we polarize ourselves mentally and emotionally in this field, we've changed our vibration, haven't we? We've altered a pure current and we've deviated that flow, and we're losing voltage and amperage. We're losing energy, aren't we? Because we forget that we're divine creators. That's in essence the problem. And this lack of awareness that we're divine allows us to feel a state of separation from everything, from the environment and from others, and that creates an insecurity. So we start to believe that money is going to create the support and security that gives us this feeling. So we're after a feeling. We're after a feeling of feeling secure and free and liberated from money.
Maybe message Tom and ask him to, oh, he's on his phone. I was going to say ask him to tether if he's got like, if he's just got normal 5G.
Yeah.
Oh,
He might not know how to do that.
I think he already is
I
on
think
his
he's already
phone.
doing that.
Yeah, I
He's
think
probably
so.
already doing this data thing, isn't he?
If he's not on, if his Wi-Fi isn't working, then maybe he wants to just try normal 4G, 5G, whatever he has available on his phone.
Yeah, I'm sure he's trying to figure it out.
Some cedar. Making an offering of cedar. Everybody also can make an offering if you're at your altar.
Yeah, if you're at your altar, make an offering for the Wi-Fi to work. That's what Tasha's
Make
jumping
an
on to.
offering. Burn some sage or cedar to clear the path.
Can I ask a question meanwhile? Something that just came up.
Of course.
Yeah,
I'm wondering because I something that I think I came across in the energy medicine manual of clearing the space and moving through the motion in an anti-clockwise direction with incense or with offering of sage and cedar. Can you speak on that, Ruth? I'm wondering like what is, as we're kind of dropping into energy mechanics, what does that anti-clockwise versus clockwise rotation represent, and how does it interact with space?
the anti-clockwise motion is to go against the grain of linear time. So we're breaking out of conventional time zones, which have their own control and their own locks in this dimension. So the anti-clockwise motion is reversing that flow, and with that reverse of flow is clearing on those different dimensions of time. So and it's
Deprogramming
deprogramming, and also
Mm.
the the spiral is a sacred symbol. The clearing symbol is based off the sacred spiral, which is a powerful ancient symbol and used in many different cultures in many different ways. And so also we're tapping into that collective energy of that motion as well. And so again, anti-clockwise is taking us out of the linear time and allowing us to cycle into anything that needs to be needed in that moment and that space, whether it's ancestral or multidimensional beings also can come in and assist you as well while you're doing that. Because the Chuka ray is also anti-clockwise as well. So a lot of the symbology in energy work kind of does go against the clock in a way, because the clock is a control mechanism. Time that we live in the linear understanding of it, is a control mechanism. So we're breaking out of those controls. Anything that's trying to hide within those spaces and those nooks and crannies with that motion is also caught, cleared, and seen.
And I think it's more in terms of like programming our intention rather than like having a precise like quantic or energetic function. It's more about the intention that we are bringing into the space and that action that we're doing to cleanse the space. Great.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's like the secondary motion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
We've got Brooks back now.
yeah, we've got Brooks back now. Okay.
Okay, Brooks, we're going to try again.
Okay. I don't know what
Great.
the story is. Looks like I got a good connection, but apparently the universe has a different idea.
Well, let's continue to flow and see where this takes us. Do you remember where you cut off?
Yes.
Okay, great.
What in essence, I think our lesson here is for all of us is basically to realize that you have these godlike abilities. You're a creator. And anything on the outside of that is experienced as like a lack of connection or a lack of self-love. Most people will say yes, they lack this feeling of being supported, and they feel disconnected and unsure and not secure. That always expresses in that fifth generator in the throat chakra. Because it's an expression. Money is an expression. They feel like they can't express themselves unless they have money. But they're complete without money. And why I make a reference to that, you don't want money, you want what you think money will bring you, which is an emotional state of being okay or secure or supported or protected. I would suggest that it'd be important to create that state now first if you want money. Create the state that you're supported, connected, and loved and okay right now. Because that's the vibration that's going to attract the money. And we have an inverted out of phase thinking. And the thinking is when I get money, then I can feel okay and everything will be fine in my life. And that's the error where we're inverting the current. It's out of phase. The goal is to feel that you're a divine creator now, and that you're loved, and that you are love, and you express yourself as love, and that you attract everything from that state of consciousness. Then the money comes naturally and effortlessly. That's the magic. That's the esoteric teaching too. That's alchemy. Taking one state of energy and moving it in, transforming it into another state or another thing. That's what we're learning to do. We do it in a systematic, linear approach to teach skills so that you know through these spiritual exercises that you are in essence learning how to transform yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially. You're learning how to transform yourself from one state of being into another. That's all. And you're doing it all the time, but perhaps you lack the acuity and awareness to know that it's changing in small incremental levels. Right? It is happening. It's very important to me to have some way of calibrating that I'm growing. And at the beginning, People will do it and they can see a physical transformation. That's in the third dimension. They can see that. The second, emotionally, that you feel more secure and safer. And the third, you feel mentally clear and focused on your purpose, what it is you're truly expressing. So money is a form of expression, and it's controlled by the fifth generator in the color blue. And it's sustained by eating live fruits from 10, realistically, from 8 till 10 in the morning. Those foods nourish their water, and they nourish that generator. They give it the specific type of electricity that nourishes all the cells in the thyroid, the metabolism, to create and distribute energy in an orderly manner in the body. So now we have that out of the way. We know we can charge it with certain foods. We can charge it with certain colors, with certain gemstones, with certain breathing patterns. These nourish the physical, emotional, and mental bodies. And when we can do that with all these 7 generators and create this balance and equilibrium, then we will start to feel these 3 golden states of equilibrium, resonance, and harmony. So how I'm telling you to get money is to learn how to create these states of equilibrium, resonance, and harmony in your body. And first, it's make this mental shift to know that right now you're enough. And right now you are taken care of, and stay in that place. As soon as you come in with fear, you literally vibrationally put the fire out. And you're building a fire. You're trying to build a bonfire. And you're trying to grab energy from the universe and build up this vital force and create things with it. The fear and the doubt and the uncertainty and the scarcity, it literally extinguishes that current. Does that make sense? I can't hear you guys.
So
Maybe you're not
Brooke,
here. Yep.
Brooke, can you give us a breakdown of the 7 generators and the 3 planes?
Yes. You have 7 generators, the typical positions of all the chakras. And the order we use is red, green, yellow, white, blue, orange, and violet. Because of the mathematical or the frequency, the charges of those generators work mathematically in that order. I know it's against many teachings, but that's how we're taught. The foods represent a very specific frequency spectrum or a bandwidth. So look at it like a group. Those groups of foods from 6 a.m. to 8 represent the electropulsing charge that's related to the 7th generator, the crown chakra. Why? Because the frequency, if you measure those foods with a spectrometer, they operate around 400 hertz, 400 nanometers in light. The spectrum is within that bandwidth. And ironically, when the sun comes up, it emits the exact same charge. It's ultraviolet, it's violet. So we know that, but when we put in those foods are purple because of that. They contain mostly, predominantly, that electropulsing energy that's represented by the color purple. And when we eat them at that time, it activates the 7th generator, it activates the DNA, it activates the whole hormonal cascade, it electrifies the peripheral network of the skin, and it synchronizes this system. That's what it does, and more. In the next group, you have blue, 8 to 10. The blue represents the 5th generator, the thyroid, the movement of fluids. We talked about the expression of money or lack of money. You will see problems with metabolism and thyroid. So when we eat those foods, they have the electroluminous charge that activates that generator. It nourishes the electrical portions that feed the electrical systems that the thyroid controls. So we're organizing the foods in groups and the time so that we can nourish the physical body, create stability in the emotional network, and create a clear state of mental activity and acuity. When we do that, when we balance those three states of order, rhythm, and timing, then we create these states we want. The golden keys are the equilibrium, the resonance, and the harmony. That's the state we want to create in our being. There, we are godlike. That's a stable form of energy. That's a sustainable, perpetual state of energy. That the whole universe operates off that principle, those three. So whatever we do, we're trying to create this equilibrium, harmony, and resonance. That's what we're trying to do in our being. When we're there, intelligence of life flows right through you. You want something, you're connected to the omniverse. That's those moments are when you think of somebody and they phone you. You know, someone talks to you and you know what they're going to say before they say it. That is a signal that you are aligned. Not that you're gifted, is that you're actually aligned. And the universe has to use you as a reciprocating expression of this God current, because you are like it. You've literally became the states that created the whole universe. You locked into that state, created alignment, and now you're used. And that's what we want. We're guided intuitively where to go, what to do. Other souls come to help us in what we want. So the eating in time is being used to organize these states of energy in our body so that we can nourish the physical dimension, the emotional states, and manage the mental states so that we can focus on what it is we want to express. Is that clear? Is there anything you'd like to ask about that?
Any questions, anybody, about that? So I have put up on a screen share. You might not be able to see it, Brooks, but
I can see it.
You can see it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that this is something that took us a while to get our head around, because what we're doing now is we're introducing a new system. So the students have already spent time really like imprinting and embedding the Vedic system.
Mm-hmm.
And now what we're doing is saying, okay, this is another system. It's like a recalibration of the way that the colors are expressed. And then now this new blueprint and concept and idea of the different charges of the food that we eat and how to access those charges at the optimum time according to their relationship with the sun. So this is a very new concept, and something that did take us a little bit of time to integrate into our system. So questions are really important. Oh, Emma, is that your hand going up?
Yeah, I have a question. I think like I'm most curious right now about this spectrum in the middle day, red. And it happens to be the first one, right, in the list, the sequence that you just provided for us. So I'm wondering, like, I guess it aligns then with the highest strength, solar strength in our daily cycle. And if that is also connected with the sacral. But yeah, like what's going on in that period of time, which nanometers and which like electrical luminous energy is happening from 1 till 3.
Okay, from 1 till 3, that handles the thermic load, like red. That handles protein metabolism, and it comes from the foods, animal proteins, dairy products, fermented foods. And that electrical load builds tissue. So between 1 and 3 in the afternoon, when the sun is at its highest, it activates that thermic circuitry. which handles a certain type of energy in the body, and it's nourished by the proteins or fermented foods and things like that, sprouted foods, even the grasses, because that builds structure. If you don't eat meat, then you can get it from fermented foods, the miso, sauerkraut, kimchi, and some of the sprouted foods like the sprouted alfalfa, sprouted lentils, all the sprouted. When you activate a food enzymatically and it starts to sprout, that's thermic energy that's pushing that plant into that spectrum now. It's changing structure, literally, from a seed. And as it grows and it breaks and it opens up and it moves, that energy and that push is thermic now. It's not dormant anymore. So that's why we can eat vegetarian foods that are fermented or sprouted, and we get the thermic load from them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. That the thermic load interacting with the muscles, is that also a zone that would be interacting with fascia and like neuroplasticity at that time?
No, it would be that works. The thermic load works on the first generator, and that governs the sexual system that relates to love or sexuality or security or productivity or in reproduction, all the organs of reproduction. It governs that. So any problem in that system, you would look at that generator and try and speculate whether it's depleted or it's overstimulated. Like if it was overstimulated, you might see excessive sex drive or irritability or higher on the anger scale, or you would see hemorrhoids, or you would see problems with ovarian cysts and things like that. Anything in the reproduction system, because that generator is controlling that network of glands and organs. So if it's depleted, you would see loss of libido, no drive at all, no desire, inability to reproduce. At that time, the thermic proteins at 1 to 3, you're electrifying and charging that network like circuit that sustains those organs and glands at that time. If you put that charge late in the day or early in the day, you're going to overdrive electrical network that can't handle that load. It's too high, and you cause a problem in other networks because that current is too high for another time of the day, and you'll see problems in the body eventually because of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks, Brax.
You're welcome.
I think Nadine had her hand up as well.
Okay, hi Nadine.
Yeah, hello there, Brooks Braun, aka Tom, also.
Hello.
Not sure. Amazing to have you here on this session. I really enjoyed listening to your teachings on the help me out, the summit before Christmas that Natasha and Roop had.
Right, Beyond Health Summit. Yeah.
That's right. Sorry, my brain just went blank at the wrong time. So just with the question relating to this eating in time, because it's really fascinated me since I first saw the list of it with Natasha a couple of years ago. But I have a question on this. So this whole concept is fascinating to me. But say, for example, in your day-to-day, on any particular day, you can't have, I'm just looking at the chart, maybe you have to like miss a time where it's ideal. So, say I'm at work, I can't somehow get the red zone or the green zone at that time where it's most applicable, most useful. Is it best to either have it at a following time with another color group, or to perhaps miss it out for that day or that particular moment? Maybe you could speak towards anything that comes up around that you could share.
Good, perfect question, because it's reality. Sometimes we're just not in a position to get at that food or that charge.
Yeah.
You using your intuition, if you found that you have a lifestyle where you would never get that charge, that would be one challenge. I would myself probably try and just miss the charge rather than putting it always in another time zone, because you'll create an alteration, electrical alteration in the body. And you can imagine this is what they call in the West inflammation. Like, oh, all disease is stress and all stress is inflammation. Because if you put in the wrong, it's like traffic. Think of traffic. You know, the green light on some roads lets you go north, and then maybe during rush hour, it switches and allows an extra lane to go in one direction because of the load of traffic going down the network, right? It goes, oh, half of the bridge is we're gonna switch that during these hours to handle that load. If you go down a one-way street at the wrong time of day, high probability there's gonna be a problem. You might get away with it during certain hours because there's no traffic on that road. But if you keep doing it, the probability is you're going to have an accident. And it's like that with electrics. If you keep on putting the wrong charges in at the wrong time and too much volume, probability is you're going to see pathology, expressions of disease of manifest. Like with the proteins, that some people only eat proteins now. They will feel good and maybe even look good for quite a while until the body loses the ability to adapt to that overload and that saturation. When we hit the saturation level, you're going to see problems in the circulatory system because the red charge controls the circulation system in the heart, the function of the heart too, and the vascular system. You'll see varicose veins, high blood pressure, fat, maybe heart problems with heart rate, things of this nature, because the system's been saturated and now it's gone from the adaptation phase into the physiology, and we're seeing physical manifestation in the form of disease in the tissue. But it started off as just an electrical alteration, right? Like, oh, I ate steak at 10 at night, and then you wake up and you feel a food hangover. You kind of feel like, oh, it's so hard to wake up. That's an alteration. Your body will compensate for a while, maybe even for decades. But eventually something will happen and you'll feel it, like the joints are stiff, or you got tension in the neck or headaches. Those are all manifestations of electrical interference, if that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect sense. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
And just also to highlight this, what about when we're not getting enough of a particular charge? So let's just say the orange charge. What happens then?
Beauty. What happens then is that rules the sixth generator, the intellect, and the pineal, pituitary, hypothalamus, this region. Those are static foods. Those are the non-green vegetables. You are going to maybe feel dull or forgetful first, brain fog, difficult to meditate, difficult to focus, difficult to relax, maybe difficult to sleep. That's stage one. That's what you would experience. Maybe headaches, maybe lack of creativity, inability to problem solve, slow to problem solve. Like the CPU, because this is governing the certain functions of the brain, the CPU, the processing units of the brain, it's running like Pac-Man now. because if we have no charge there, we're going to start to see excesses in the other systems, right? Because we've lost equilibrium. So we're going to see not just deficiency there from not eating the charge, we're probably going to see overages in other systems because they're habitually eating certain foods. We all do. I did too, just because I was trained about nutrition in a different way. And I would, even though I go, oh, greens are good for me. So if I eat them 3 times a day, it'll be healthier. And it was causing problems. So if we look at it like that, then we look at it's more about equilibrium and balance than it is about eating 2 or 3 food groups all the time because they're superfoods. Does that help?
Yes. And what about the orange? So the orange generator, but what about the orange charge? I'm thinking about the conversation that we were having, Brooks, particularly about the stuff that I was going through in relation to not eating enough legumes and beans and the impact that that was having on that generator. Do you remember?
Yeah, because the legumes and beans are the yellow charge. Then that's magnetic energy. So think of magnetism. If you didn't have enough magnetism in the body, you might see prolapsing signs in the body. The fascia, which your other guests spoke about, connective tissue, you start to see diseases in the later stages like prolapse, uterus, prolapse, bladder, saggy, facial skinned, the parenchymal fascia that holds the organs in place gets weak, the connective tissue, and the organs start to drop, and you get this big guys with skinny legs and a big beer belly, and kind of, it slopes off towards the belly button, gets really big at the bottom of the stomach, but not at the top. So those kind of things would be where there's no magnetic charge to sustain the tissue and hold everything in place. Now that can be controlled also, like, good question, Natasha, because the relationship between the 6th generator and the 3rd, the yellow and the orange, they work together, complementary, like yin and yang. So they're balancing together. So, but not eating the non-green vegetables like the squash and the carrots and the cauliflower and all of those cabbage and all those foods nourish the brain and the hormone system. And it's paired with the 3rd generator. This can get too complicated for today's conversation, but understand, everybody, that each generator has an opposing complementary charge. It has a masculine and feminine side to sustain equilibrium. And when one goes out, the other one has to compensate and lend the energy to the weaker one. So everything's going to be about balancing these charges in the body. The color represents a type of energy. There's 7 types of energy that are represented by the colors. Okay? Electropulsing, luminous, sensory, and neutral. Those are the 7 charges of energy in the cosmos and in the body.
I just want to jump in quickly. What was the second one you mentioned? So it's electroluminous, neutral.
Electropulsing is first. The blue one is electroluminous.
And then it turns neutral.
Electropulsing is the violet charge. It's the highest frequency, right? Neutral is the slowest frequency. That's all the grains. That's why if you eat tired, if you're eating like pasta and pizza and rice and all that, like at noon, or you'll be tired. Try it and notice. Bread, all of the grains, eat those in the middle of the day and notice if your energy comes up or goes down. We use the food, the grains and the white charge, neutral charge, at night because it puts nerve function down. It prepares you for sleep. It gives you the best sleep in the world. That's why we call it comfort food, right? Like pasta, bread, and pizza, and quinoa, and oats, avena. All of those are grains, and they slow the metabolism down, slow nerve function down. They nourish the bones and the fascia, the connective tissue, and things like that.
So Brooks, what I'm going to do, I'm just also being really mindful of time. I'm definitely, I know I can see Ria's got her hand up as well. I'm definitely going to revise all of these with the students. And I mean, I'm having a whole month plus of treatment with Brooks. And I'm also learning. I'm a student just like all of you. As you can see, I'm like adding to my little chart as we're doing this class. So I'm going to be revising this with Brooks, and then I'm going to come back and revise this with you with an updated version of this so that you can integrate that. I would really, really like to go on to the three planes, if that's okay, and utilize a little bit of time for the three planes. Was that your question? Was that related to your question, Ria?
No, but it's not that important.
Okay. All right.
I love oatmeal. Oatmeal at night is delight, and it's the best thing that you could eat.
Great. Wonderful.
Everybody
And
just
just while we're here, I don't know why, but I've got, can you see my chart? I've got orange charge here as legumes and beans at 4 to 5. Is that right?
Yes, it is right. And yeah, yellow is legumes and yellow is legumes and orange are non-green vegetables. Think of carrots.
Oh,
Just think of carrots.
I've got these the wrong way round. How did I
That's
do
okay. I had it in my
this?
head the wrong way around for 5 years.
Oh my God, I've had this in my head the wrong way around for like a
okay.
really long time.
Okay, the whole world has got it wrong.
The whole world has got it. Keep saying.
The whole
Okay.
world's going to stop.
I
Quantic crisis.
Quantic crisis.
I'm changing that now. Sorry, everybody. And is yellow 2 to 3? Is that right? Have I got that one right?
Yeah. Remember, they overlap a little bit too, right?
Yeah.
In real life, they overlap the times. We're kind of putting them laser like, because if you have a serious metabolic disorder and you lock in this timing and eat very mono, like one group of food at a time, you'll really make a rapid correction. Real life is we eat 3 times a day. We have 7 opportunities though to do it like this. If we're really sick, I put people on this because it's way more powerful to correct metabolism.
So yes, this is amazing. Thank you so much. There are a couple of students that are studying with us at the moment that I was going to be having very specific calls with about this. So this has some of you will know who you are if you're watching this. So this is directly related to that. And yes, so we will revise this more and we'll go deeper into this at another time and have you back on again, Brooks, at some point. But can we shift? Does it feel okay to shift to the remaining time to discussing the 3 planes and how the 3 planes relate to each of the generators as well? Give us some kind of live case studies with some of the generators and how you would apply the 3 planes to those generators.
Okay. I'll explain it like a library. Think of a library and you got 3 sections in the library. You got the physical section, everything about biology, and then you got the emotional section, everything about emotion. and then you got the section around the mind. And all in each section, there are 7 categories. So you have 21 in total. And they're going to be labeled each section of the library, whether you're going into the physical section. You're going to see 7 colors.
Okay, we'll just wait for Brooks to jump back on. So
There's many interesting things that you would have heard then, I suspect, which has got your minds boggled and a bit, what the hell have we been doing? I've been having 3 salads a day. So if you miss the salad at 11 to 12, that's it. Forget about lettuce the rest of the day. And literally what he's saying is having a salad later on in the evening is causing inflammation. The charge that is held within the green leaf only has the hormones and enzymes to process it in our gut at 10 to 12, 11 to 12.
and this is
Oh,
sorry, go on,
ahead.
Ria.
I just wanted to know about fasting because, like, for me, the idea of eating before 11 is like, what? Why just chomping down on the cacao at 6 a.m. feels like a wild journey.
I know.
So, where does fasting come into this? Because it feels like the digestive system would be doing so much.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure like in the last, I mean, it may have changed with Brooks. It's a great question for him, but in the last few years, he's talked about having certain fasting days. Like, do you remember him saying that he might
you
have
just have to take time off
take time
a
off?
rigorous schedule. It, like he just said there, it's laid out in this laser-like proficiency for tackling, you know, major health issues. Like he's used this to cure cancer. He's used this to cure obesity, all sorts of things. He's done experiments himself where he just ate burgers and crap for a month, put on X amount of kg, showed us the picture,
Yeah, got
He had
fat.
a massive gut, and then he went back to this for a month, and he went to stripped it back down to his six
Yeah.
pack. So he's this is what it is, and so you do what you can from this. Like I don't eat until lunchtime, so you know, like this is the thing. So I'm a habitual purple blue ray miss. I just miss that.
But can I just jump in because it's really this is going to you've got to integrate this, and this is like if you align to this, then over time as you integrate this, this is gonna completely shift everything. If you don't align with it and you're like, this isn't for me, then that's fine. You can just forget about it. But if you do align with it and you try bits and you are going to evolve and develop over time. Like I was never a morning person, but I've just done, I'm on like sunrises now every morning. And I'm getting that purple and blue charge, which I've missed for my entire life. Basically, I'm 40 now and I've got 4 decades of like
here in Mexico.
I've got sorry.
Only when we're here in Mexico we get that charge.
Yeah, only when we're here in Mexico and we're like by the beach and we get that charge. But I think these are important things to consider, like how our life, and this is what Brooks talks about, is developing a new lifestyle, because in order to get the charges that we need to be getting up early. And then that just becomes a part of where we're at. I'm at a point, I'm 40, I'm manifesting, metabolic issues. I'm manifesting sleep issues, gut issues that have been persistent that I've not been able to cure with all of the tools that I have. And now the only thing that I have left to charge is to try is this. because I realized there are certain charges that I've been overdoing and overstimulating, which is part of what's caused my issue, and then certain charges that I haven't been getting at all, which is also a part of my issue at the right time, remember. And for somebody like me, I'm so sensitive and I have a genetic predisposition that makes me sensitive. Like this is important for me. So you're going to find your way with it, and then please admit him, and you'll find where the right times for you to fast are. You know, it might be that it's okay for you to fast in the morning and not be hitting those charges because you need other charges. You need to prioritize other charges more. I don't know. So it's about shifting your perspective to understand, like, what is it? Do your own assessment and work out with relation to where you're at. What do you really need to prioritize? Like, where do you need to make corrections? What charges are you missing? That kind of thing. And Brooks is now, hopefully, if we can keep him on, Brooks is going to talk about the three planes, which is another addition to this, because the three planes is understanding how our mental and emotional and spiritual bodies directly impact our generators, the electrical health of our body. So Brooks, are you there? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm here.
Great. Let's get back into it.
Okay, so we've covered the fact that there's the word dimensions we're a multidimensional being. And we're going to talk about the three dimensions of our physical, emotional, mental dimensions. And understand that it would be like looking within each dimension, there's 7 books, each with a color. Because each color represents a gland and an organ and systems. Okay, you know that from Ayurveda. You have a we would call it a spectrum of light, and there's 7 different charges of light within that spectrum or bandwidth. And we have smells in there, tastes, colors, frequencies, organs, glands, cells, and we go, oh, there's a system in that dimension. Yes, and each system represented by a color or a type of energy are 7 different unique types of energy that we spoke about earlier. Electropulsing, in order from the bottom, electropulsing red, kinetic green, the sacral, the solar plexus yellow, magnetic charge, the heart white, the thyroid generator blue, the pineal orange, and then the crown at the back, violet. So we have those 7 types of energy that exist in the cosmos, exist in the body. They power the different systems. So when we begin to learn that, let's say, for example, pathology or disease, it moves from the 3rd dimension, from the mind. We have to have a thought. And if there's aberrations in our thinking, conflict, we're creating resistance in ourselves, aren't we? Like maybe we're really conflicted about what we're doing for work. We really don't like it, but we need the money. So we're in an environment where we're creating electrical resistance, aren't we? We're creating stress and inflammation because part of us doesn't want to do it and part of us has to do it. That's conflict. That's electrical, right? We're altering a flow of electricity with our mind because life is flowing through us and we're resisting the path we're on. That's going to cross from the first realm of mind. It's going to transfer that electrical circuits into the next band of frequency, isn't it? Into the emotions. Because now we feel frustrated that we have to go to that job we dislike. Now, depending on the specific emotion, as you know, each generator handles a certain type of energy, and that controls a certain emotion. Every emotion's coming from a different generator, isn't it? That's how it works. Now, if we're constantly frustrated, we're going to affect the heart. Maybe we experience heart palpitations Or shortness of breath or anxiety would be the clinical psychological. Oh, the person has anxiety disorder, so we give them a medication. Or they feel a tightness in their chest because it's affecting the respiratory system and the heart. The fourth generator, the white charge. Maybe they're eating white all day because they're sad that they have to go to a job they dislike, so they're eating muffins in the morning or toast and coffee, and at lunch they have a sandwich, and then at night they have more white, and they're saturating that field, that generator, white generator, and it depletes. So they actually get more depressed. The body starts changing, gaining weight, and they're getting more frustrated and anxious and out of balance. And in time, maybe they notice they have some allergies. But it started off as a mental alteration, didn't it? I don't like the job I'm doing. I'm resisting it. And that particular emotion is governed by a generator, an area, and a type of energy. If we deplete that whole electrical circuit, we're experiencing anxiety. And in the end, maybe we experience, shortness of breath, anxiety, pain in the joints. But it all started off as a thought form, right? And turned into a high emotional output. And this is what I want to touch on for 1 second so you can kind of understand this analogy. Everything we do, from opening and closing our eyelids to breathing, requires energy, doesn't it? Where does it come from? Only food? No, it doesn't come from food. We can be nourished in many different ways. 80% of our nourishment is coming from the environment, from sun, photon energy, electromagnetism, water, hydration. We need water to hydrate, to move electricity and balance electrolytes. Air, we have to breathe, prana. And earth, we have to grab that magnetic charge. And you said this earlier, I've never been getting the morning charge. Now, here's the most critical thing I can leave you with. You collect energy 2 ways, through food and through the environment. 80% of your nourishment as a human multidimensional being is coming from the environment, from the air, from the light, from the water, and the ground. 20% is coming from the food. If I disrupt the electrical environment around you through, alter the electromagnetic field through radiation or Wi-Fi always on your brain, I can make you depressed. And you can eat all the food you want. You're not going to stop the depression because we've altered the electromagnetic field around the body. We've interrupted the uniform flow of energy coming into your system. So how we collect more energy is we put ourselves in the environment to collect energy, which is nature. Nature gives us the magnetic energy from the ground through our feet, through all the yin channels, stimulating the nerves. We dump all the protons, we grab all the electrons, and it's coming through the feet. We have the eyes in the sun getting all of the signaling, because the sun is signaling the whole hormonal cascade. Whether you're asleep or not, everything that's happening to your body, meaning your mind, your emotions, and your body, is happening electromagnetically because of the signaling between the relationships of the planets. When the moon's in a certain phase, women menstruate. In 9 of those cycles, you give birth. So the planets are the conductors of the whole hormonal system. And that works from the moon. The 24-hour circadian rhythm of when you metabolize and digest food and sleep is handled by the sun, the circadian rhythm. Now, this is the law. These are universal laws. So by falling in line with the universal laws, you can create this electrical alignment in your body where you get access to the cloud or the universe, right? That's how we're getting access to the field. Is as soon as we're aligned, we get all the benefits of that alignment, which is telepathic, telekinetic. We're switched on there. And we get that by going in front of the sun, because the sun controls every single cellular clock. In Western medicine, they call them BMAL, BMAL, clock genes, BMAL receptors. Every single cell in your body has a clock. And certain cells have certain life cycles. Liver, 6 months, inside the mouth, 24 hours. So you have to understand that this thing's running on different clocks, and they're all connected like cogs in a Swiss watch. And what synchronizes them is you being in front of the sun, standing barefoot on the ground. You're literally synchronizing your clock like a military mission, like it's 0600 hours. Every cell knows it's 0600 hours because you're connected to the ground, looking at the sun. And what that does is it does three really important things. Gives you the magnetic charge from the earth, gives you the electrical charge from the ether, and it balances it with the gravitational field. The equatorial zone of your body, the belly button. Like there's a hula hoop going around your body like there is going around the earth. And there's a North Pole and there's a South Pole. And you've created these three charges: magnetics, electrics, and gravitational field. You've created a whole, that is your protection. That's your auric field you talk about. That is how it's created. And when you collapse that field, that's when you feel afraid and alone and isolated and separated. That's what happens. That's the feeling of collapsing the electromagnetic field around the body. And you collapse it by excessive chemicals, bad diet, not hydrating, poor thoughts, bad emotions, bad decisions, not being in nature. You kind of oversaturating in electromagnetic radiation from Wi-Fi. That attacks that field. Now, if that's 80% of our life force, and you're never in front of the sun in the morning, what are the odds you can build up a protective field around yourself? You're electric. And if you want to validate it, go do a live blood cell analysis, then go out and ground yourself for 10 or 15 minutes and go back and do another live blood cell analysis, and you see all the coagulation of the red blood cells move apart. Why? The whole pH changed. We changed chemistry because we changed conductivity, and we got rid of protons and grabbed electrons, and we created an electrical coherence in and around our body, and our chemistry changed. Well, that was easy, but it's the most challenging thing for people to do is to get up at the beginning because they're desynchronized. So they literally resist that action. And I know most of you will experience that. Do you notice that when you don't feel good, you tend to not eat good? Like, oh, I just feel like I'll just have a piece of chocolate or cake or ice cream or whatever goodie. Because when you change your vibration, let's use the term negative, polarizing, you're changing the polarity. You actually go into a negative state. You actually start to crave the negative foods and think negative thoughts, feel negative feelings, and attract negative experiences. It's like bulk buying. So if you want to change that so that you feel positive and excited and switched on and optimistic, then you need to change the field. And the easiest way is what you're doing, Natasha. You get in that charge, even if you're in the cold. I mean, where I live too, it's like England. I go out in the rain in the morning, barefoot, get on the grass. I don't care if find some. I don't care if you have a hot cup of tea and your pants rolled up and you're standing on the wet grass. Go out there and spend 10 minutes breathing and setting your intentions for the day, and then just watch how you feel all day and what you attract. That would be probably the best piece of advice I could leave you.
So the thing that's really coming to me, and please, if any of you have any final questions, just get them ready now. This is the time. We only have a few minutes left. But this is really bringing to me this sense of just how hard I realize that I've had to work living in the environment that I lived in, but but not making the most of it, because I spend a lot of time complaining about the environment that I'm in and creating more thought aberrations and more resistance rather than just really optimizing the environment that I'm in, getting up. And I didn't personally choose the easy way. Now I realize years later, lots of money later, that the path for me of least resistance, of flow, the easiest path is just to get up early in the morning, or to be somewhere where that's easier for me to do, where it feels my body, for whatever reason, it feels easier for my body, or it feels easier for where I'm at psychologically. And it's just bringing me into this dimension of how hard we have to work in certain environments, like hours and hours a day of energy practice, in order to feel like we're at some level of coherence and protection. Whereas what you're offering, Brooks, is like, let's just make it really easy on ourselves.
Exactly. 10 minutes. And then we can move away from, and most of us have experienced this, because this isn't like, like it's been super, super easy. Of course, like you, at 45 years, I mean, probably in the last 5 years, massive transformation, but all of that time and energy looking for the right path of what's going to answer my questions and my concerns. Like, how do I achieve like superhuman health? Like, is it possible, or is it just a storyline? And it's possible, and it's got nothing to do with money.
Yeah.
It's got everything to do with lifestyle habits. That's what it's all about. And you're seeing it and you're experiencing it. Do it for 30 days and watch what happens. You'll notice in 3 days there's a shift. 3 days, you'll notice a shift. In 30 days, you'll notice a transformation. You will not think the same. You will not feel the same. People will be making comments at you like, something's changed about you. You look really happy. You look really centered, You'll notice it. It'll speak to you, because it's effortless to be healthy. And I applaud you too for putting on the Beyond Healing Summit, because really we need to move beyond healing. We need to stop. Literally, we're in the business of talking about healing, but really we need to move beyond the discussion of talking about healing and just being healed, and moving into living. We just need to live. And this is by far the easiest lifestyle pattern I've ever created for myself. I don't even think about nutrition anymore. I know it. I don't think about it. I talk about it with you guys and share. But when you live the right lifestyle and you have the right habits, everything falls into place. You get luckier, you get more abundance, you meet better people, everything changes. And it was really effortless.
Beautiful. So do we have any final burning questions from any of you, or any comments or reflections that you'd like to add in before we finish the session today?
Yeah, I had a short question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Just lowering the hand. It was actually exactly what I originally wanted to ask as a question, but it relates precisely to what you were just sharing now, Brooks. So with the environment, I know you also spoke about it a lot on the summit, and I remember something really poignant that you said about the 80%, and you've just mentioned it again now. So that blew my mind, even though it's something that I'd like had a micro dose of information of before, but it sort of really opened up a lot of different thoughts. And I know you said something like the sun is fuel, and then talking into all the other elements. So that 10 minutes at the start of the day, that is essentially crucial for how the rest of your day can unfold. I totally get that. And I'm an early riser. I normally get up between 6 and 7 a.m., even if I don't set an alarm, which is great. The slight problem where I am environmentally right now is that, not today maybe, but generally there is huge, huge, huge amounts of cloud cover. not many sun rays, especially at that time in the morning. So if I want to try and live in this way and optimize my energy and do even better, but there are huge constraints environmentally, is there a solution?
Yes, there is. Being out in the light is you're still getting the radiations from the sun. It's just it's just prettier in the Caribbean. But when you get out in light where you're not looking through glass out into nature, even if you're walking in a park and it's cloudy, you're still getting that rate, those frequencies.
Okay. So,
So
because
sorry, if you want to increase that even more, then you would use a near infrared panel. Like if you wanted a bigger boost, you found harder to maintain emotional stability for people where they're just like, that's not enough. I don't have enough time in my life because I work and I only have 10 minutes. Then yes, do the 10 minutes and then put on the panel at night and sit by the panel, and that will pick up the emotions in the mind. That'll energize you big time.
right, so the infrared at night, not in the morning.
You can use it in the morning is better, but I mean, we're talking, this is a great point you brought up because it's real. Um, we're basically living in places and in a way that isn't conducive to longevity,
Absolutely.
right? 150 years ago, the average lifespan was 40 years old. For survival or disease is easier to manage, but we're living in the wrong way in the wrong places, and we're always trying to figure out how do we fit a square peg into a round hole. So we have to sometimes use little aids, right? Like we have to do affirmations all day. We don't have to do that when we live in nature in the Caribbean. You just have to go outside in the ocean. But when you're living in places like Canada and the UK and that, yeah, red light panel, getting that light into your body, that charge is important. Better in the morning, but get it whenever you can.
Okay, thank you. So just to make sure I'm crystal clear, because this is an element I'm so keen to just really try and find like the ultimate jigsaw piece to, because the food, the breath work, the energy practices, like I'm so up for all of that all the time, trying all the time and constantly tweaking. But the lack of sunlight, the lack of that environmental charge, which I know you've explained in many different ways, is so important. That's the one that's been really hard for me to get round and to improve without moving to the Caribbean dream.
Yeah, yeah. Get outside. I don't care. Put a raincoat on, but roll your pant legs up and get on some grass and drink hot coffee or tea. Well, I don't care if it's downpour. I got guys that doing this in the snow. They're clearing snow, and then well, that's how I start them. And then they that's really cold, and I say, okay, now you can graduate and stand on a sheepskin. But you're going to be grounded, and you can read a book, you can listen to a podcast, you can do rain. That's where you are, right? I did it, and it works.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we have gone well over time and ran out of time. Thank you so much, Brooks. This has been incredible. I mean, I'm continuing to learn all the time, every time that I sit with you and tweak and update these resources. So we will complete that together. And then students, you'll receive this next week. If Brooks, you can put your video on so we can just see you before we leave. And
All right. Ta-da.
Great. And maybe we'll all be together one day here in the Caribbean. That would be wonderful. We shall.
Yes, that's a goal, isn't it? We shall.
Absolutely.
We'll make it happen.
We will indeed. Okay, thank you again so much. And yeah, we'll be looking forward to having you back on here soon. Feel free, students, to unmute yourself and just share your final sentiments.
Thank you, Brooks.
You're welcome. Pleasure.
Thank you so much. So nice to meet you here and absorb all the wisdom that you have to share.
Thank you so much, and blessings for all of you too.
Thank you, echoing.
Thank you so much, Ben, for the... and thank you
Yes.
also, a lot of gratitude to Natasha and Root for bringing you into our awareness through the summit and also on this program. So thanks to you both too.
Excellent. Thank you for the compassionate comments. I appreciate it.